Okay, John. I think we're ready to go now.
Sure.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone, and good afternoon. I'm Sharon from BirdDog. Welcome to our first ever webinar with NETGEAR on Valentine's Day. So, definitely, we're hoping we're the power couple here. So, today we have William from NETGEAR, Sales Engineer ANZ, here with us. He will be talking about the latest NETGEAR AV over IP solutions. And we have Powell from BirdDog here, who is going to talk about the BirdDog ecosystem, how it integrates with NETGEAR for seamless integration, how we're going to elevate your AV magic. So let's get into it. William will start talking about the NETGEAR side first, and then BirdDog, and then we'll have a live demo later. And definitely stay for the quiz later, because today we are spreading the love. We are going to give out a NETGEAR switch and also BirdDog plays. So definitely stay for the last giveaway. William, over to you now.
Thank you so much, Sharon. And good morning, good afternoon to everyone. Very excited to have you all in here. And thank you for joining and having the opportunity to see this powerful relationship that we have with NETGEAR. So let me start a little bit with the background of NETGEAR. We've been supporting the AV industry for almost 20 years now. And everything started with the alliance of SDVOE, right? So we've been supporting quality high transmission of video and audio. And after that, we've been developing several components in the AV infrastructure to support control, video, audio, and different protocols that are available in the market. And after that, we decided, okay, we need to certify it with some of the more important AV manufacturers in the industry, and that's when we start creating profiles in our switches. So that's the beauty of our switches, the capacity to create configuration and protocols for the AV industry with a couple of clicks, and then your solution will be ready to go. We'll go through that in detail, and then also we have some tools to control multiple switches at the same time, which is going to be part of the live demo. But there is no product good enough if you don't have the right support, right? So, and that is key for us. We do have a team around the world, which is 24 engineers with a very long experience in the AV industry. So they do know very well Dante, AS67, AV, and all different formats for video transmission. And on top of that, the IT knowledge required to deploy a network solution. So just remember this: ProAV design at netgear.com and Pro Wi-Fi design at netgear.com. Both of them are dedicated teams. The AV one is for the AV solutions. Wi-Fi, we also offer Wi-Fi solutions. So you can reach out to us and we'll be back to you in less than 2 hours. Absolutely, because we got people all around the world. So if you send an email at the middle of the night, someone from UK or the United States will come back to you and help you and support you. Now, in terms of the profiles that we have in our switches, and that's where we have been selected as one of the best switches for AV solutions, because we have scripts ready to go that communicates to the API of the switch and deploy all the settings that are required for an endpoint to work, right? So in this case, we're talking about BirdDog, and we have a fantastic relationship with them. And you can see we got the video NDI 4 and video NDI 5 profiles. Now, a lot of the people is now using the NDI 5, which comes with Dante QZs and AS67 audio embedded. And that means that you'll need to use PTP and all these timing protocols to make things work. All of these details needs to be adjusted in the port. Possible to do it through several commands through the CLI or different configurations. But if you need to reduce cost in your project, right? So you want to deploy this very quickly. You don't need to have a high qualified engineer to configure all these settings. Then you come with one of these switches, simply select the right profile, and all the settings will be configured on this switch. So that's the beauty of one switch, but then we also have tools to configure multiple switches. At the moment, this is the list that we have of profiles. and we will be incrementing this as we get in, we contact more partners, we create more memberships, and then we have this ability to configure easily their endpoints. Why NETGEAR? So we do have a very strong relationship with more than 200 plus AV manufacturers, and that help us to communicate with them if there is something to troubleshoot beyond the switch. We can contact them. You can contact us through ProAV design. We do have the AV UI interface that it's very easy to use. I'll show you that in a moment. The Engage controller, once again, that's a live demo that we'll be going through, and a couple of features very important. I'll talk a little bit of that in a second. Auto lag, auto trunk, IGMP plus, and the ability to select any switch depending on the PoE budget that you require for your solution. You can adjust these switches very easily, so you can reduce cost. A very expensive switch if you go for a PoE plus, but you can adjust that switch to provide the right amount of PoE that your endpoint will require. In terms of the portfolio that we have, you can actually start for the M4250, then you go for the M4300, M4350s, and the M4500s. You will see this as the access of your infrastructure, the distribution of your infrastructure, and then the core of your infrastructure. So we have plenty of options in here, but that's how you look this in terms of technology: access, distribution, and the core of your solution. We have a bit more detail in terms of what sort of switches we have in here, and then you just need to reach out to us. So if you have a solution that you have different endpoints, different protocols, multiple switches, you don't know how you're going to interconnect all these things, just send an email to ProAV Design. We'll go through all the options that we have in terms of switching. You can see here we have a lot of them, and we also at the end of or beginning of this year now, probably next month, we're gonna start seeing switches with 7021. So is this doing here? So they are gonna be able to do master clock and boundary clock. So if you're using PTP and you want to have an independent master clock device running in your infrastructure, you will be able to use these two switches over here. The idea is to close that gap that is between the AV engineers and IT engineers, where the AV engineers have a very amazing knowledge in terms of audio, acoustics, channels, but then they have to start playing with VLANs, trunking, IGMP plus, multicast, so things get complicated. Then we have the other side of the picture. We got the IT engineer who actually understand trunking, VLAN, all these protocols, but then he needs to start looking into Dante, AS67, console audio system, DSPs, cameras, and it's a completely different technology, right? So you got different protocols there. So we need to close that gap, and that's where we've been focusing and creating all these profiles to support the AV engineers that are trying to integrate systems over IP. So the key features that we have in our switches, and that makes us different to any other vendor, it's one IGMP plus. So the IGMP plus, it's basically a control protocol for multicast. So for those that are not technical, a lot of the AV solutions will require a multicast traffic. And that basically means that all the packets are flowing through your network and they're trying to reach everyone. That's the bottom line of that technology. But and then you will have to have something at the top of your infrastructure to control all that traffic, right? So normally we call it PIM or smart mode configuration, and in that way you're gonna control that traffic is not overflowing the whole system, because if you do that, you're gonna crash your laptops, access points, everything, because your network is gonna be basically overwhelmed by traffic. You need something to control that, right? So you need to configure a router or configure something very complicated to control this. But we create our own protocol, which is IGMP plus. Is a NETGEAR protocol that basically runs on the query and each individual switch to control the traffic that goes through the uplink ports. So as an example, you can see an encoder in here is trying to send a stream to the query, and or as well this one here. So you got two, but only one receiver. So that's only one decoder is trying to get that information. So the query and IGMP Plus together work to make sure only the transmission that is required in this receiver goes through the query. So bottom line, this is going to reduce the cost of your solution. So you don't have to spend much in the uplink cost of your switch, because you got IGMP Plus controlling that traffic, and that's at the VLAN level. So that helps the whole all the hosts that are part of the same VLAN, they will be benefit by this protocol. Then we got auto lag. There are protocols that you need to configure in most of the multi-switch solutions, but because you use it, if you use NETGEAR, you will be able to have these features automatically happening in your solution. So all the VLANs will be trunk across your links, and all the links that you put together, they'll be built as a bundle, and that's what we call link aggregation groups. So you will have enough bandwidth to transmit all your data. These are quick examples. We got 40 encoders and 40 decoders of 10 gigs. So that's basically 400 gig of data that you initially thought is gonna move locally in this switch. But then you ended up connecting another switch with only 2 links of 40 gigs. So that gives you 80 gigs. And because this is a query, all 400 gigs are trying to reach the query to tell him that they are streaming information. So what's going to happen in here? You're going to overflow this link. That one, you need to have PIM to control that. But if you have a NETGEAR switch, IGMP Plus will help you to control that and avoid that in this case, there is no need for any encoder to send traffic all the way to here. Everything will stay down here, okay? And that's thanks to IGMP Plus. We also have a router. So this is mainly, we know that there is a lot of solutions that are going to be parallel to IT infrastructures, and you will have the option to send the management VLAN for the IT manager to control the AV solution. And then all the multicast traffic can be blocked and keep it isolated. But if you ended up in a solution that you require to receive your internet service provider, and you need to do NAT translation, you need to do VPNs, you need to do DM zones and stuff like that, everything that is related to your outside communication. We also have a router which comes with a dual one port and enough bandwidth in the LAN ports. They're all up to 10 gig, as you can see here. And at the moment, you can only do side-to-side VPN, so that's LAN-to-LAN VPN, but we're working on releasing a new software to enable the client to router VPN, which is going to be soon. And finally, we do have a collection, a library, where the 25 engineers that deal with different issues, different problems every day, we collect information there to help AV engineers, IT engineers to solve issues, to configure protocols, to troubleshoot anything that is causing a dilemma in your network. You can come to this library, have a look at what we have in there, and if you don't find the answer there, you can email to us, and then we'll come back to you as soon as possible to support you. And I think that's it. It's very brief. We can actually go deep into different topics, but at this point, we're trying to keep it brief and open for everyone to start, knowing the product, knowing the team, and sending the emails to our ProAV design group for us to support you. Thank you. Over to you, Pavel.
Thank you, Will. So I just want to give you a brief introduction and a bit more details about our best-selling cameras, as well as some tools that we provide with our cameras. So I want to start with P240. That's our workhorse camera. It's our baseline camera. It's a HD60 camera with 40 times zoom. It has simultaneous multiple video outputs. That is an IP video output, SDI, and HDMI, and they're all active at the same time. When it comes to the IP video out, there are actually two, and that's one of the unique features of BirdDog cameras. You can have a full NDI video out, as well as one of the secondary video outs, that is NDI HX or SRT or RTMP. So basically, it can fit into pretty much every single workflow out there, whether it's a remote production, whether it's an on-prem video conferencing or AV distribution. We have that all. It comes with.
Let me know when you want me to move to the next slide, Paul.
Sure, no worries. PD40 comes with XLR audio, and it also has a built-in phantom power. So you can either ingest line level and balance audio, or you can attach mic directly to the camera, and you can power the mic as well. So that gives you that option to add audio into your ecosystem and convert it to NDI and to analog from NDI on the camera itself. It comes with BirdUI, that is our unique user interface that I'm going to touch on a bit later, and it comes with our BirdDog API that I'll also mention that later. We can go to the next one, Will. The next one in the line is P4K. That's our top of the range camera with a huge Sony 1-inch sensor. This camera is great for low light solution. So concert halls or places of worship where you really don't have much control over lighting. This one is the one to go. It performs extremely well under low light because of the sensor size. It's a 4K camera, so it gives you 4K 30 output. Same as with the other one, it has simultaneous multiple video out, so it gives you an NDI out over the network. It gives you SDI, HDMI, and it also has a Genlock connection for the SDI baseband workflows. So again, we're trying to cover as many of the workflows as possible. It's PoE plus powered, so you don't require any additional power infrastructure. You can power it directly from the switch, NETGEAR switch. So basically, all we need is just one Ethernet cable, and that gives
that is important.
So video and power. We can go to the next one, Will. So I mentioned before BirdUI, and that's one of the unique features about BirdDog products. That is, the user interface is unified across all of our products, not only cameras, but all products. So basically, once you know how to use one, you pretty much know how to use all of them, which is great for places where you have volunteers coming in to produce the show, or it basically lowers your the amount of training needed for the staff. And same goes for our API. So API is unified across all of the products, and what that means is once you integrate one product, it's very easy to swap one camera for another camera with better performance, or one converter to another converter and whatnot. So that really reduces the amount of work needed on the integration side, because once you integrate a product into your ecosystem, it's very easy to scale up from that on. The next one. So we also give you a couple of free tools with our products. Cam control is one of them. That application allows you to control simultaneous cameras at the same time. You can put up to 4 cameras on the single interface, and you get access to all of the settings on the camera directly from that interface. And what I mean by that, you can change your exposure settings, adjust colors, or even move camera dynamically with either physical controller or mouse and keyboard. It also allows for auto tracking. So it has 4 auto trackers where you can assign them to cameras, and you can change, adjust your parameters for tracking, and the software will track subjects automatically. So if there's ever a need to enable auto tracking on your workflow, Cam Control covers up to 4 cameras. Next one, please. NDI PTZ Control. This is an iOS app that's available on iPads and iPhones. It works with all NDI sources out there, so it's not locked just to BirdDog products. You can pull any NDI source that you have on your network. If you were to pull a BirdDog product, it also allows you to control those products. So if it's a BirdDog camera, You get access to basic PTZ control. You can recall and save presets, but you also get access to all of the camera image properties. So you can change your exposure, you can change the white balance, and other settings, such as color matrix, for example. It allows you to see both proxy and high bandwidth NDI. So if you're on Wi-Fi, for example, you can set it to proxy, and you can have smooth video flowing over Wi-Fi. If you want to switch to a high res, usually that means that you either need to have a good Wi-Fi network or you want to be on Ethernet. You can view it in a small screen, or you can also view the source in full screen on your mobile device. Okay, go to the next one. As you can see, there are two versions. There's an iPad version, and there's an iOS iPhone version with slightly different interface, but the functionality is the same. So those are the tools that we provide you with cameras. The next thing I want to talk about is our newest addition, that is Crestron and QSys libraries that we put up recently, just before ISE. So as I mentioned before, we have an API on all of our products, and that's unified, but that still requires some sort of integration on the customer side. So we partner with QSys, and we work with Crestron as well. And we now have our plugins available for those platforms. So when it comes to QSys, you can go to QSys Marketplace now, and you can download our. Will, can we switch to the next one, please?
Yep.
Sorry. QSys Marketplace. So you can download the plugin now from QSys official store, and you can start integrating BirdDog products within your QSys ecosystem. So the plugin supports all of our products. So there's a converter plugin that covers all of the converters, even the entry-level play. And there's a camera plugin that covers all of the cameras as well, from the entry-level cameras all the way up to the high end. So that way, it's very easy to integrate our products with Crestron and QSys. You can go to the next one, please. And finally, I want to mention that all of our cameras are going with not that one. Sorry, there's a new cloud update. Sorry, I missed that. Cloud 10 is available. So there's some couple of neat features that we've added in. One of them being Adobe plugin, and we partner with Adobe on that product, so we're very proud of it. We have an NDI screen capture KVM as well built in into cloud, and then we also have a companion module that I know is working really well. So for any companion users out there, you can now not only use BirdDog hardware products with companion, but there's also a cloud plugin where that allows you to remotely enable and disable connections and some other features as well. So yeah, if you want to talk about, if you have any questions about cloud, reach out to us, and I'm sure there's someone available always and happy to chat about cloud. Next one, please. And 5 years warranty. So all of our cameras, all of our indoor cameras come with 5 years warranty. So it's a unique feature on the PTZ market, and we're super proud of it. So we're backing up our hardware with 5 years warranty. And finally, the reason why we have this meeting today is the bundle. So we've partnered with NETGEAR AV, and we now have a bundle available that is 3 P240s and a M40-50 switch for only just under $9,000.
That's great news.
Cool. Thank you very much. I'll throw that to you, Sharon.
Yes, thank you both. Oops. So now William will do a live demo of our P240 and NETGEAR switch.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks, Sharon, again. And thanks, Power. All right. So the NETGEAR Engage controller, it's a free tool, and you can easily just go to netgear.com/AV, and that URL will take you to this place where you're going to find the AV solutions section. and easily identify the products that we have in here. It comes with a great filter, so if you need to find the right PoE, the right type of port, power redundancy, all these different features required for a networking device, you can find it in here in each individual section. But then you also will find the NETGEAR controller. So the NETGEAR controller is a local software. We are working to enable that in a cloud-based mode, but at the moment it's local. So we'll keep both of those features available. It'll be local and cloud-based. At this stage, it's only local. So everything that connects to the same subnet, LLDP, which is a layer 2 communication or protocol, will tell the controller that there are switches existing in that subnet, and then the controller is going to be able to see them, and then you can onboard them, or you can bring them into the software. The download can be done on a Windows machine. It can also be done on a Linux or a Mac equipment, a laptop or computer if it is required. And for the sake of making sure things run quickly and smooth for our webinar, I already download the software and install it on my computer. So over here, you're going to see several tabs in here. So the first one is the control management. So the control management gives you the option to have multiple sites, right? So if you are the manager of multiple different AV solutions, you can actually configure this site to control your building A, and then another one to control your building B. It's all based on the subnet that you're connecting to. So for example, today, when you install this, the first thing he's going to ask you is, okay, let's create a site. And then you need to configure a password for it. And that's going to be the password for the controller, okay, which you can also use to apply that same password to your switches in your infrastructure. So the key here is going to be the NIC that you're using, right? So if you can actually have multiple instances running of Engage, and select different NICs to control different subnets, okay? In my case, I'm using a static, not static, IP address that I get in my Ethernet port in my laptop, which is provided by the DHCP in my lab environment, right? You can set up a static IP address. So for security, you don't want to use a DHCP. You want to have static IP addresses. You can set up Engage to use a static IP address and communicate to a static environment. Or you can also configure a static DHCP bot. So you will be performing, which is not normal. So if you go to a large infrastructure, you're gonna have a Windows server with a DHCP server providing IP addresses, or maybe the router, or because we are a layer 3 switch, so all the NETGEAR switches that are layer 3 switches, you can configure the IP address in or the DHCP pool of IP addresses in your switch itself. So in this case, I'm selecting dynamic because I'm getting an IP address from my DHCP server. We do have this section here, support. Very nice to contact us when there is something that is not working as expected in your solution. Because once you click this, you're gonna collect all the logs from your switches. If you got 10 switches, that will be 10 logs. You take a picture or you take a snapshot of your topology. So we know exactly you interconnecting things, and you extract all the configuration from your switches, and that's going to put it together in a zip file, which is going to be ready to send it to ProAV design. And that's going to be the first thing that we go through, making sure you have the right firmware, you get the right configuration, what exactly is happening in that solution. We can dig into those config files and help you and support you. So at this stage, I select that NIC, and because I got 3 switches in my rack right beside me, the M4250, which is a PoE plus switch. This is a desktop one, but in terms of performance and features, it's the same as the 1RE that it's in the picture of the webinar. So we're gonna use this one, the desktop one PoE plus, as our switch to connect the P240. And because they are part of the same subnet, I can see them ready to bring them on board. So I'm going to onboard my first switch, the PoE one, and I'm going to tell him that to use the controller password. If this is the first time you join the switch, he's going to ask you, okay, this switch doesn't have any password. I'm going to apply the controller one. And then just need to remember to switch from then is going to use that password, even if you try to log in separately into that switch. So you bring on board this one, and then everything else that you have, like you can actually, bring a couple, because probably you're gonna use you're gonna configure the rest for something else. So you bring everything that you know you're gonna be using in this infrastructure, right? So now this tab becomes available. Let it join. So it's been successful. Remember, always safe. So because everything that happens in here stays in the temporal memory of the switch, so you need to move it to the permanent one, which we call it running configuration and startup configuration. So when you save, that goes into the startup configuration of your switch. So the network monitoring is a new tab that we developed pretty much at the end of Q4. That's last year. And the main task for this is to go through the SNMP messages and collect all the important information that will dictate if your network is healthy or not. Right, so he's going to consider things like CPU performance, memory performance, your spanning tree activity, and also the uptime of your devices. So you can see all that information in here. You can see, oh, this is the CPU utilization of my cores, or this is going to be the cores. Well, I'm going to name this one the core, which is PoE. So this is the CPU utilization for this switch, memory utilization. It comes with a priority 0, so that means that's going to be the root for my spanning tree. And then you can also see the MAC address of the root bridge over here, and the MAC address of your device. It's good when you're troubleshooting and you want to understand how everything is interconnected. It is good to have a look in here. You can also filter this based on if you get a large network, filtering and seeing what exactly it's in your infrastructure is good in here. The network statistics, so it's a monitoring tool, basic one, but enough to tell you when there is an issue with an endpoint. So if you got dropping packets, that is a red flag for you. Okay, so dropping packets means something, it's in the switch is sending the packets incorrectly or receiving them incorrectly for some reason. Bandwidth is being is overflowed, so you start dropping packets. There is an MTU mismatch. There is a flow control issue. So any port that you see is dropping packets is something you need to look into and try to. You're probably going to have to troubleshoot further with a Wireshark to detect exactly what's the communication and what's happening there. But at least you can see here that port and that endpoint is having some sort of issues. The uplink ports, and if you have fiber modules, this is a great place that you can actually check your link aggregation groups between your switches and the ports that are actually active and functioning, right? And network logs, you can pull all of that out of here. All right, so probably the most important tab in here, you're gonna see all the devices in here. You can configure them individually, just the same way when you connect for the first time to a single switch. You go to the browser management IP address, and then you do your configuration. But let's see the beauty of Engage. We're gonna create a whole new profile. So at the moment, just go back for a second. That's the topology. So you can actually see the topology of your infrastructure and see how everything is interconnected. And it's great because you can see the physical look of the device, right? So let's configure a profile for the NDI. So I'm going to change my default profile for the NDI 5 with Dante, QSIS, and AES67. So that's going to configure quality of service settings in my switch. That's going to configure the flow control. That's going to configure MTU, everything that is required for NDI 5, including PTP version 2, and if it is required transparent clock on your switch or not, everything, all of that is going to be configured thanks to the help of the profile that we have and the scripts that we have ready. And we've been testing with our partners for especially this one, I think for a couple of years now, or maybe less, but Yeah, it's been tested for a long time. Here, you can select what ports are going to be part of that VLAN, because it's my default VLAN. I'm going to say everyone is part of this, okay? And I apply this, and now my default VLAN is going to be NDI 5. So I got a simple flat VLAN across all my infrastructure, and it's going to tell me, okay, yeah, it's ready to apply, to connect any endpoint that is it supports NDI 5. Will be ready to connect to any of the ports. But let's say I also want to create a couple, another one, because I got a couple of, encoded decoders. I'm just going to configure an extra one for encoded decoders. And I now, this is going to be transporting a couple of some video. I'm going to just say this is my VLAN 100, and the color comes, predefined on that one. And then I'm going to say, okay, I want to make my core switch. It's going to be my PoE switch. Okay. So I'm going to tell him I want port 7 and 8 to be configured for that video configuration. And probably I'm going to connect a decoder as well on port 15 on this switch. And I'm going to configure a port 9 on this one. Or you can select all of them, right? So you can actually say, oh, I want all of them to be configured for that sort of communication. Or you can also copy from here. So I'll say, okay, I want 15, and sorry, I made a mistake here. I'm going to delete this one, and I'm going to delete this one. And now what I want is just copy this port, same port to all the switches. Bang, done. All right, so everyone is going to get the same as the one that I just copied. And then you apply that. Okay, and in this section now you can configure. I'm going to have to run a little bit faster. I think now we're gonna configure the layer 3 of this section, right? So we can enable this PoE switch as the core switch. So he's gonna be doing everything: query, DHCP, and IGMP, the IGMP query, and the DHCP, and routing as well. So because I configured him as the core switch, and I apply that, he's going to ask me, okay, now you need to configure the routing of that interface, okay? So this same can be done on the NDI 5 configuration. So I'm going to give this guy this IP address, and I'm going to give him a subnet, pretty standard. And I'm going to reduce my pool of IP addresses so he doesn't get, we don't have, we have some spare IP addresses for reservation, and I'll just get configure Google DNS. Perfect. I'm gonna apply this one, and I want to show you as well the option to reserve. So it's been successful now. So if you go in here, because the DHCP is running on 100, you can actually go to the advanced feature, and this is important for the NDI, for the BirdDog cameras. You can configure, you can reserve IP addresses in here. So I'm gonna tell him, okay, everything that is being connected. So I haven't connected anything yet, but if you connect devices in here, you're gonna see them getting an IP address. And then you can select, okay, I want to assign that MAC address for that endpoint to this IP address, and it's going to be a it's a reservation for that. And every time you reboot your endpoint, you switch it or anything, and you connect again, you're going to get the same IP address from the DHCP. And great feature as well, you can actually create in here inter-VLAN access list, so you can block communication from VLAN 1 into VLAN 100, for example. Okay, and if you have multiple VLANs, you can block all these communications in this, and it is basically access list blocking traffic between. It's a unicast blocking traffic, but it blocks everything. All the broadcast, multicast, and unicast communication will be blocked through that ACL configuration. You can configure the out-of-band port, so that's the management port in here. You can configure the IGMP query, and you can configure the auto trunk and auto lag. So let's talk a little bit of that. So auto trunk, you got multiple VLANs that by default is enabled. All the VLANs will go through the uplink ports, and if you have multiple links, the link aggregation will be created. You can also enable or disable transparent clock straight from here. So let's have a look. How does it look, this switch that we just configured? We open the PoE switch. This is now how a single switch will look like. And we can see now that we have a video, a VLAN, and then a default VLAN for NDI 5. So I got this camera here. Show it to you. This is the P240. So I'm gonna connect that one quickly, and that one should come up on one of the ports that we have here. So in this case, will come up in my. I'm also in the meantime. I'm gonna quickly open my NDI discovery system. So in that way, we can see that camera coming up. So now I got my NDI discovery system. He's listening on port 5959, and he's starting to listen for any NDI communication that is coming through my network. So once the camera comes up, my camera should get an IP address because I don't have a DHP for this one. It's coming from the outside, right? So he's gonna get an IP address on this same range. And then my switch and my laptop will be part of the same ecosystem, and then they should be able to see it in here. So at this point, there is no listeners, and then eventually you will see that will come up in here. There we go. So it's been the source being added. So if I look into my NDI webcams, oh, you see a different angle of myself. So that's me. That's me here. And I think that's it, because it was a flat VLAN, right? So it was a single flat VLAN. No need to configure anything else or anything different than just letting the default VLAN move that NDI traffic. The port is being configured for that specific communication, right? So the port is being configured for that specific configuration, and that NDI camera, now you can see it should be connected on port 6 over here. And the great thing you can see here, if you go to overview, hover over your port, you can actually see what's the MAC address of that one. You can see the host. You can see how much power is consuming, and it it helps you to troubleshoot. I can also I got it here, an encoder and decoder, and I think that there's hours that we can spend in here discussing different features that we have, how to schedule PoE, how to configure individual ports, what sort of security we can configure on the Engage controller. Couple of features, good features in here. You can port mirror the switch. So if you have a problem with, let's say, the camera, and you want to capture the packets out of that camera, and your laptop is connecting to port 5, then you run Wireshark, and you can easily see all the details of that traffic coming from the camera into your laptop, and then troubleshoot that issues. And if your solution requires something much more complex that using ABOI, because it's possible, things, switch that switch, but then when it gets complex, it's when, there's a lot of challenges in a whole entire network. There's a lot of protocols, different features that need to be in the right place. So it can get complicated. So if things get complicated, you can actually go into the main UI. And the main UI, it's the more like the IT side of this switch. So that one will give you much more details and features that you can actually configure. And that looks like an IT switch basically. And then you can configure in detail a lot of features that are required in the IT industry and the AB industry. And if things are, you want to overcomplicate things, you still need to drill into details of this on this switch, you can actually go directly from Engage into the CLI mode of the switch, which is is the underhood of everything that is happening. We also support AP REST, so you can use that one to communicate to the switch, to request information, to shut down ports, to do different things. We can share with you if you need that information directly. Just send an email to us, and we can also schedule a deeper training on what's engaged, all the features available, and everything that we can achieve by using these tested and approved profiles that we have with different AB manufacturers. And I think that's it. And as I say, I can spend hours on different details in here, but that we don't want to, go over the time that it's been assigned for this. So I think that's it for me, Sharon.
Thank you, William. Now, last part is our first. Let's do a Q&A, and then we'll move on to the quiz where we'll do the giveaway. If any question, please post it on Q&A chat box. Any questions for William or Powell? Oh, there are a few already. William, if you can look at the Q&A session.
Yep. Okay, so I'll go through the first one. It says, are there switches in the AV line that support over 1 gig Ethernet speeds and PoE? If not, are there any? There is definitely switches that support more than 1 gig. So if you look at the portfolio or the website, the M4250s, most of them will, pretty much all of them are 1 gig access ports, and you can find some 10 gig uplink ports in that range. Then if you want to transmit a little bit more intense video, and you need 10 gig access ports, you can go for the M4300s or M4350s. Both of them are stackable, so if you need redundancy, you can stack those switches, and they support 10 gig on the access ports and up to 100 gig in the uplink ports. And then if you have a massive solution, you got thousands of endpoints, and you need a core switch to support all these 10, 25, and up to 100 gig uplink ports, we got the M4500. So that's a very robust switch to receive all these fiber, and they're going to perform as core switches. So yes, we do definitely have one switches with more than 1 gig. Does the M4250 have SFP Plus? Yes, there is one out of that line that you can find that will support SFP Plus. I think it's only one. I can double check it out, but I believe it's only one that supports SFP Plus in the M42 family. If you need SFP Plus in the access port, then you need to go for, so that will be like a core switch. You can go for the M4300s or M4350s. Is there any AV plugin coming for BirdDog Cloud? I think that's for Powell.
Yes, so Powell has answered that one.
Yeah. Okay.
There's 2 new questions as well on top for you, William.
Yep. So the next one I think is what NIC is default installed in the router? 10 gig. What NIC is default installed in the? Don't really get that question, but in terms of how do you connect? Should we just enable? Can we enable him to? I don't think I can enable him to speak. But in terms of how do you access the switch, we do have 3 different ways, right? So the default way that you access the switch, it's the OOB port. And then the OOB port comes with the first settings he's configured for is DHCP. So he start looking for an IP address. He doesn't find one. He go back to link local IP address. He doesn't get any communication there. Then he goes into a static IP address, and then the static IP address is 192.168.0.239. So you will need to set up your laptop as 192.168.0.200/24. So that's 255.255.255.0, and then you will be able to communicate with the switch through the OOB port. Keep in mind the OOB port is a completely separate interface. So that means there is no communication between the inbound, outbound ports and the OOB port. So you'll be able to manage the switch, but all the traffic stays completely separate. So it is great if you want to keep that separation between management and live traffic. Use the OOB port and keep everything else in the inbound, outbound ports. There is a management port, so that's VLAN 1 as any other switch. If you connect a DHCP DHCP server, the VLAN 1 by default will get an IP address, and then you can control the switch as well. But it's a mix between the inbound, outbound traffic and management, right? You can set up an independent management VLAN, change VLAN 1 or keep VLAN 1, and that is through the front ports, okay? And finally, CLI. So if we have all our switches will come with a USB to USB Type-C cable that you connect to your laptop and the serial port of your switch, and then you will have to issue CLI commands. So if you are a Cisco expert, you understand all the CLI commands. Easy to do it because the syntax is almost identical. So you can configure the switch. Not ideal for AV engineers because it will get things complicated, right? This for more for like IT engineers. Hope that answered the question. Someone is raising their hand.
There are two more questions on Q&A from Chris.
I think Alexander was trying to ask a question. Just enabled your microphone, Alexander, if you want to. Yeah, probably not. But let me see what else. Yeah, enabled Alexander microphone. If you want to enable your microphone, you'll be able to raise the question. And we got one more in here.
There are some new posts on Q&A as well.
Okay, let's go back to that one. Okay, where are we at? So let's say there's another one here. Is there profile development for Dante video? Obviously, Dante audio is available. So yes, if you go into the profiles of our switches in here, you will be able to see. So down here, you can see all the profiles available. Let's go to network profiles. So audio Dante is over here, and if you go down, you're gonna see video with Dante audio, video with QSys audio, and video with AES67 audio. So yes, the answer to that is yes. We do have video and Dante, and also we changed the way we approach Dante and AES67. Back in the days, the DSP of each one of these were conflicting. I'm going a little bit too technical maybe, but bottom line is you can actually now configure AES67 and Dante at the same time in a single VLAN or a single switch. So that is good, and that's where because we now approach that by the QoS of the multicast IP address of PTP. That's the bottom line. Why? How about PTP support on NETGEAR switches for transparent and boundary clock? So yes, we do support PTP transparent clock in all our switches at the moment. There are a couple of switches that will be able to do master clock and boundary clock. We call them the 702110 switches. They normally for a broadcast industry, so the bandwidth is very high. You will see that the ports are very they come with a very high bandwidth. Talking about the minimum 10, but those ones will be able to do master clock and boundary clock. Only two switches will be able to do that. In terms of PTP transparent clock, you can enable or disable that in pretty much all our AB switches. Yeah, that's a good question. Are there switches in the oh yeah, I think we went through that one already. Oh, okay. This is a good one. I like this one. What are the resources available to design the ideal network topology based on our pool of devices? And that is true. When you have support and you start looking at the different devices that people have to interconnect in an AB solution, it is amazing. Like my background is IT, so I was just used to see, storage, servers, laptops, access points, and a phone and stuff was weird, and like stuff that was the weirdest. But yeah, in the AB, I can see there's so many different encoders, decoders, audio systems, different things. So the best way is please reach out to ProAV Design. So anything that you have in your solution and you having doubts if our switches are going to be able to support it, how do I need to configure this thing? Please reach out to us and we'll be there to support you. Okay. I think we cover most of them, Sharon.
Yep. That's
Excellent.
great. Cool. Now we have a few minutes left for the quiz. So, William, do you want to go to the quiz?
Yes.
And if you guys can join the quiz, we
Yeah.
have a few questions, and we're giving out 4 prizes today. The grand prize will be NETGEAR M4250 switch and 3 sets of BirdDog Play. Each set consists of 2, so you can also give 1 to someone, to a friend,
All
a
right.
colleague. So 4 prizes.
All right. Can everyone see the QR code that it's been shared in my screen?
Oh, there we go. Paul is joining over here.
Excellent. Yeah, I can see people starting to join, so we'll give everyone a minute or two to scan and join.
Yeah. You just need to scan the QR code.
So the questions are going to be very simple, being honest. That yes, motivate you to keep contacting us to support you, to guide you, to help you in your projects, in your solutions, and in your troubleshooting, of course, because always there's something that it doesn't work as it's supposed to. So we got so far 50, 60 people join the quiz. So let's wait. So how many participants we have, Sharon, at the moment?
We have 96 now.
Okay, cool. So let's wait for all. Let's see if all of them wants to join.
While we're waiting, I have also posted the link on Q&A where to get the NETGEAR and BirdDog bundle, featuring again the 3 P240s, BirdDog P240s, and the NETGEAR M4250 switch.
So we got 65 people so far. All right, I think we got a steady number, 68 people.
Yeah.
Oh no, still going up, still going up. $70 people. Okay. All right. Shall we start now?
Yep, let's go.
Good. Hold on. One more. All right, so I'm gonna click the start quiz now. Okay, hold on. There's more people joining in. Give everyone a fair chance to win. And apologies, but I think we went over 3 minutes now, so but we're just about to finish it. Oh, good. 73 people. I'll click start now. All right. And there you go. So you're gonna only have 20 seconds. Oh, apologies, I forgot to mention that. You got 20 seconds to respond to that question.
And the people who got it right and fastest win.
Yeah. Cool. All right, so let's see the correct answer. All right. This is it. So remember, we got 4 different lines in our switch. We got the M4250s, that's the access switch. M4300 and M4350s are the kind of core switches. They can be core or distribution. And then we got the M4500, which is the core switch, strong switch, expensive switch, but it's going to be the core, a very large solution. Right. This bar is spinning. Let's go. Next question. Says NETGEAR AV switches are not a layer 3 switches. So you're not going to be able to do any routing in here. You need to buy a router. You can buy the NETGEAR router. All right, let's see the correct answer. So the NETGEAR switches are layer 3. So basically it means it comes with a routing table. So the difference between a switch and a router, the router comes with a routing table, and you can configure routing protocols on it. And then you can move packets between different VLANs. You can do inter VLAN and stuff like that. So our switches are layer 3. So if you don't have a routing or a router in your infrastructure, our switches will be able to do routing. You can do OSPF. You can configure layer 3 VLANs and do inter VLAN. No need for a router in a solution. Okay. Next one. Ooh. Next question. It's only 5 questions, so just about to finish. Oh, this is IGMP Plus main functions are avoid port MTU issue, reduce traffic to the query, save bandwidth and cost. It's multiple questions, multiple answers in here, so that is a good one. All right. Yeah, so remember IGMP Plus is a NETGEAR protocol and basically reduce the traffic to the query. So that's going to reduce what? Your bandwidth and the cost. That's going to save bandwidth and cost on your solution. And that's going to reduce configuration, because otherwise you need to configure out something to control your multicast traffic, which is going to be as a PIM configuration, a SPAR mode configuration on a router. You don't need that with the NETGEAR switches. And that's been a great achievement from the NETGEAR engineering team. Next question. To manage and configure a multi-switch NETGEAR solution, I should use. Discuss this once in the demo, definitely. Correct. Yeah, I can see a lot of good answers there. All right, so yes, definitely to configure IGMP Plus, it needs to be enabled. You can disable that. By default comes enabled, but you can disable it. So don't, if you're working with NETGEAR switches and you want someone to control the multicast traffic in your AV solution, use IGMP Plus, keep it enabled. Auto lag and auto trunk comes pre-enabled, but it can also be disabled. So if you want to have an easy and effective NETGEAR solution configured and managed, use auto lag and auto trunk. And finally, if you have multiple switches, use the engage controller. That's gonna save you lots of time. And I think we're going down to the last question. That's about to be there. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And that was it. That was the last question. Good. So the answer is false. We do have NDI 5 ready to go in our switches, which support Dante and AA67. So that means that that's going to enable PTP features, quality of control, quality of service configuration on the ports, and other features that are required for the NDI 5. If you need details on those terms, if you need to know exactly what is being configured, you can actually reach out to ProAV Designer. We will explain, okay, this is what we're doing in terms of the profiles, and these are the details we're configuring on the switches. And here we go. Congratulations to Judson Bartlett, you being the first one. But I think we got, how many prizes we have, Sharon?
We have 4 prizes.
4. Excellent. So I'll share this one with Sharon, and I will reach out to you over email about the price, isn't it?
Yes.
Excellent.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Exactly. Yeah, that's good. All good. Over to you, Sharon. You want to say goodbye to everyone?
Yes, thank you so much for joining us today. Any questions for Powell, please head to birddog.tv or email hello@birddog.tv. We are here to answer all your questions. Thank you, William, as well, for the live demo and the very informative session on NETGEAR. Again, if you want to get the bundle, the joint bundle, you can head to our where to buy page, which I posted on the Q&A. And just thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
I hope you find it useful.
Absolutely. From my side, so don't forget to reach out to ProAV Design or myself if you got any questions, any support, or any extra details that you require. I will be here to support you. So thank you. Thank you for joining in.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.